The rain hammered against the windows like 1,000 desperate fists, each drop a plea for mercy in the dead of night. Marcus had always been a light sleeper, but the sound that woke him at 12:47 a.m. wasn't the storm. It was the timid knock on his apartment door. So soft he almost convinced himself he'd imagined it. Then it came again. 3 gentle taps that somehow cut through the thunder and reached straight into his chest. He threw off his blanket and stumbled through the darkness, his heart pounding with that primal mix of fear and curiosity that comes with unexpected midnight visitors. When he peered through the peephole, he saw her, a young woman, maybe mid-20s, soaked to the bone, mascara streaking down her face like war paint made of tears. Her arms were wrapped around herself, and she was shaking so hard he could see it even through the distorted fisheye lens. Marcus's hand hesitated on the deadbolt. Every true crime podcast he'd ever listened to screamed warnings in his head. But there was something about the way she stood there, small and lost, that reminded him of his sister Sarah before she got clean, before she found her way back home. He opened the door. "I'm so sorry," she whispered, her voice barely audible above the storm. "I didn't know where else to go. Can I stay? Just for tonight, please." Marcus stood speechless, his mouth opening and closing like a fish out of water. Up close, he could see she was younger than he'd thought, early 20s at most. Her left eye was beginning to swell, a purple shadow blooming across her cheekbone like a poisonous flower. Her phone clutched in her trembling hand had a shattered screen, useless as a broken mirror. "I'll leave in the morning," she continued, words tumbling out in a desperate rush. "I promise I'm not crazy or dangerous or anything. I couldn't stay there anymore. And my friend's place. It's 40 minutes away and my phone died." And her voice cracked, and she looked down at her waterlogged sneakers. "I've been walking for an hour. I saw your light on and I just thought maybe—" "Come in," Marcus heard himself say, stepping aside before his rational brain could override his heart. "You're freezing." The relief that washed over her face almost buckled his knees. She stepped into his modest apartment, dripping water onto the hardwood floors, and he immediately grabbed the blanket from his couch and wrapped it around her shoulders. She was shaking so hard her teeth chattered. "I'm Emma," she said, pulling the blanket tighter. "I know this is insane. You're probably wondering what kind of person just shows up at a stranger's door in the middle of the night. I'm Marcus." He moved to his small kitchen, putting the kettle on. "And right now, I'm just wondering if you're okay." "That eye looks bad." Emma's hand instinctively went to her face, then dropped. "My boyfriend." "Ex-boyfriend now, I guess. Tonight was supposed to be our anniversary dinner. But he'd been drinking before I even got there. And when I said I thought we should slow down on the wine, he just—" She stopped, swallowing hard. "I grabbed my purse and ran. I didn't even grab my coat." Marcus handed her a steaming mug of chamomile tea, and their fingers brushed for a moment. Hers were ice cold. He noticed she wore a waitress uniform under her thin cardigan. She must have come straight from work. "My phone's dead," she said again, as if she needed to justify her presence. "And I don't have my car keys. He took them last week because he said I was going out too much." "I should have seen it then, you know? All the signs were there." They sat in silence for a moment, the storm continuing its assault outside. Marcus thought about his sister again. About all the nights she'd called him crying from some guy's apartment, from park benches, from gas station bathrooms. About all the times he'd dropped everything to pick her up. No questions asked. "You can take my bed," he finally said. "I'll sleep on the couch." Emma's eyes filled with tears again. "I can't ask you to do that." "You're not asking. I'm offering." He stood up, already grabbing a spare pillow from the closet. "Look, I get it. I've been the guy on the other side of this. My sister, she went through something similar a few years back. I learned then that sometimes people just need someone to be kind without making it complicated." "Why are you helping me?" Emma asked, her voice small and confused, as if kindness was a foreign language she'd forgotten how to speak. Marcus paused, considering his answer. "A couple years ago, I was evicted. Bad breakup, lost my job, couldn't make rent. I ended up sleeping in my car for 3 weeks. One night, this old man who ran the grocery store where I used to shop found me in the parking lot. He gave me the keys to his storage room above the shop and didn't charge me a dime until I got back on my feet. He said, 'We're all one bad day away from needing help.'" He looked at Emma directly. Tonight's your bad day. Tomorrow can be better. Emma broke down then, really cried, her shoulders shaking with sobs that seemed to come from somewhere, deep and wounded inside her. Marcus didn't try to comfort her with words. He'd learned that sometimes people just need to let it out. He simply sat nearby, a quiet presence, letting her know she wasn't alone. When morning came, pale and apologetic after the storm's rage, Emma emerged from the bedroom to find Marcus making pancakes. Her eye looked worse in the daylight. But something else had changed too. She stood straighter, her jaw set with determination. "I called my friend from your phone," she said. "She's coming to get me." "And I called the police. I'm filing a report." Marcus flipped a pancake. "That takes guts." "You help me remember I have them." She smiled, and despite the bruise, despite everything, it was genuine. "Last night when I was walking in the rain, I felt so alone. Like I'd disappeared and nobody would even notice. But you saw me. You didn't just see a problem or a risk. You saw a person who needed help." 3 months later, Marcus was locking up his apartment when he heard footsteps behind him. He turned to find Emma, transformed. Her hair pulled back in a neat ponytail, wearing business casual clothes and carrying a gift bag. "I work in the building next door now," she explained, her smile bright. "New job, new apartment across town. I meant to come by sooner, but I wanted to wait until I really had my feet under me." She handed him the bag. "This isn't enough, but it's a start." Inside was a framed photo of a sunflower growing through concrete, and a handwritten note. "For teaching me that kindness still exists, and that I'm worth saving. You gave me more than shelter that night. You gave me hope. Forever grateful, Emma." Marcus looked up, his throat tight. "You saved yourself. I just opened a door." "Sometimes that's all someone needs," Emma said softly. "One door to open when all the others have closed." They stood there in the hallway, two people whose lives had intersected for one crucial moment, forever changed by the simple choice to see each other's humanity. Outside, the sun was shining, and somewhere in the city, another person was having their worst day. But maybe, just maybe, someone would open a door for them too.